I previously posted what one of my Mondays look like as a freelance consultant, and I thought that I would continue with my week because maybe you would be curious, and I figured I'd take you through my Tuesday. So, one of the things that I really love about freelancing is that no 2 days are exactly alike. The projects change, the meetings change, the people I work with change. But one thing does stay pretty consistent, and that is that I must be very intentional about how I use my time. I feel like today's example is a great example of that. Now, I'm Jennifer from the Freelance Shift. I help aspiring freelancers build profitable businesses using modern strategies, AI, and proven systems. So let's jump right into my Tuesday. So today started fairly early. I had my first call at 7:30 a.m. my time, and my day started with Microsoft Copilot Office Hours for one of my clients. So I had one of these sessions yesterday, if you did watch my Monday video. And you already know, if you did, that this is one of my favorite parts of the week. I facilitate these sessions with a couple of other AI experts, and people from the company join the call with any question that they have regarding Microsoft Copilot. Now, some people want help writing better prompts, some people want troubleshooting, and others are just excited to join a group of their colleagues and share something that they've discovered about how Copilot can help them in their day-to-day work. So none of these sessions are ever the same, which is one reason that I think that I really like it. If you haven't yet learned about me, I really do like variety. So in these sessions, not only do I get to help people become better and more productive with AI, but I also learn a lot about how people across different roles in this company are using Copilot to work smarter. So it's just a great reminder that there isn't just one right way to use AI, and that the possibilities to use AI are really limitless. So after the office hours, which were an hour, I spent some time catching up on email and Microsoft Teams messages, which is basically a part of my everyday. As I've mentioned, working with multiple clients means that there are always conversations happening. And one thing about being a successful freelancer is that you do have to be timely and responsive. So I've found that responding early in the day, when that's possible, keeps the questions from becoming bigger problems through the course of the day. Then next, I had a quick 30-minute check-in meeting for a SharePoint project that I'm currently working on. I agreed to take a short-term project where I would build a SharePoint site for a client. Now, because this is a short-term project, the meetings were very focused and productive. So this was a short, quick meeting where we basically reviewed the progress that I'd made so far, talked through some questions that I had, and identified the next steps moving forward. So I enjoyed this project too. I do generally only take work that I think that I'm going to enjoy, but I like this one because it's a collaborative group and it's not taking up my entire schedule. It's something that, except for these little check-in meetings, it's very flexible. I do all the work whenever I want to do the work. Now, after that meeting, I had another very short meeting with one of the clients for the online event consulting group that I manage. I needed to answer some questions about what the best type of meeting would be best for them, whether that be Zoom or Teams, whether that be a meeting or a webinar. And then we just went over some of the various settings that they had the ability to select and whether or not that they wanted them. So that was pretty quick. Then I attended a quick status meeting on the Copilot project that I work on for that first client again. And we just wanted to make sure that everything was on track. We have a tracker and we make sure that we keep up with things based on the various cards in the tracker. And I know that project management isn't always the most visible part of freelancing, but I think it's a really important one. Making sure that you are where you're supposed to be in your project timeline. Now, of course, a lot of what I do is making sure communication is clear, expectations are aligned, and projects just keep moving forward. Because when everything runs smoothly, that's usually a sign of a lot of behind-the-scenes coordination that's happening. So later in the morning, I ended my morning teaching a 75-minute class on getting started with Microsoft Copilot. Now, I think training is my true passion. My mother tells me that from the time that she can remember, from when I was a small child, I always wanted to teach. And every role that I've had, even when I was in high school and I worked as a waitress at a local creamery, I became the store trainer. It's just part of who I really am. So training is always one of the favorite parts of my business because I get to take part in people growing and expanding. And in this case, basically from wondering how they're going to use AI to feeling confident enough to actually use it in their day-to-day and transform a little part of their business day. I like to think that I have a small part in that. And helping people build that confidence is incredibly rewarding. Then at 1 o'clock, I completely switched roles. Instead of teaching, I became the student. I belong to a group of business professionals who get together to take various trainings. The training was offered to us, so of course I jumped on board. So I logged into an online class that was about setting goals for your business, selling things online, a direction where I want to take this business. And I feel like taking classes is something that's easy for some freelancers to overlook because we're so busy serving clients that we sometimes forget to invest in ourselves, whether that's learning new skills, improving our marketing, building new systems. We need to keep growing too. So I always try to make that a priority. And it was such a great experience. I learned a lot from the presenter. And we also had the opportunity to go into breakout rooms and collaborate with others who are maybe not doing the exact same thing as us, but doing something similar. And that was a really positive experience too. I love that with people who want to help you grow because they're there doing the same thing. They are upfront and honest about moves that you probably really need to make. At least in my situation, that was it. Well, during the class, I'll say that I was able to get a walk-in. It was a good opportunity for me because the instructor of this class was on the west coast of the US. I'm on the east coast. That's a 3-hour time difference. So she had a lunch break factored in for people. It was already past my lunch time. So I was able to get out for a walk, get some fresh air, and reset before the meeting resumed. Well, in all honesty, I was still walking and then driving home when the session resumed, but thanks to mobile technology, I was able to log on and not lose any of the content being presented in the class. I thought that this was important, and I think that it's a lesson that if you don't do it, try it, see if it aligns for you. Hopefully it will. I've found that stepping away from the computer actually helps me come back more focused. So sometimes the most productive thing that I can do is actually take a break, and I come back rejuvenated, re-energized, and ready to go. Now, after I finish recording this video, I am off to get my nails done with one of my daughters, and we're going to grab something to eat after. And I think this is one of the biggest reasons that I chose freelancing. Yes, I work hard, but I also have the flexibility to make time for moments like this when it works for my schedule. I don't have to ask permission. I simply build my schedule around what's important. And that flexibility is something that I never take for granted. That was the number one priority for me. And the reason, or one of the reasons, that I decided to go the freelance route. Now, later on when I get home, I probably will spend a little bit more time working on my AI evaluator project before I go to bed. As I've mentioned, that's really flexible work, so I can fit it into the evening after everything else is done. And sometimes that's exactly where it fits best. And I tend to be a bit of a night owl, so logging on later in the day isn't generally something that bothers me. So in conclusion, when people sometimes ask me how I'm able to juggle so many different projects, the answer isn't that I'm naturally more organized than everyone else. It's that I've practiced and learned how to be very intentional with my time. I block time for specific tasks instead of constantly reacting to whatever pops up. When I'm teaching, I'm teaching. When I'm in meetings, I'm fully present in the meetings, unless, okay, maybe sometimes if it's a status meeting, I'm also checking my email at the same time. But other than that, I'm fully present in meetings. And when it's time to learn something new for my own business, that is what I focus on. It's important to take that time. And then similarly, when it's time to spend time with the family, I do that without feeling guilty. It's enjoyment. It's a reward for all the hard work that you do at other points in the day. Now, I don't always get everything accomplished that I want to get accomplished. I don't know if anyone does. But by planning my time instead of letting my time plan me, I'm able to make steady progress across multiple clients and still have a life outside of work. And that's one of the biggest lessons that freelancing has taught me. You have to make the minutes count. So if you enjoyed coming behind the scenes with me today, Tuesday, I'd love it if you'd like this video and subscribe to the Freelance Shift. It does help little channels like mine. But thanks for spending part of your day with me. I'll see you in the next time. Take care.